You are listening to Let's Go, the weekly anime podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
It's Niall.
Oh, yeah.
And it's me, Brian. And on this week, we are covering the anime that aired the week of the 20th of July to the 26th of July, 2020, with the solitary exception of brand new Animal BNA. Episode 4, Dolphin Daydream. So this one's all about the dolphin daughter of is he a beluga whale?
Or a porpoise?
I
wasn't sure.
Monster. Porpoise he's got a big head. It's kind of hard to tell with the exaggeration to it, but yeah, you see, there's definitely some kind of aquatic mammal.
Mm.
Yes, and we get, in order for this to make sense, the mayor explains how Beastman DNA works. BNA works.
So it has multiple meanings.
It's the name of the show.
It is.
What was it? Bionucleic acid or something like that. They stick in like some B-starting sciencey word.
It's just beast deoxyribonucleic.
Oh, it's just straight up beast. Okay, my mistake.
Bionucleic acid. Bleh.
Yeah, and it appears to be to set up two things. One is to establish at some point in the ancient past, beastmen were pretending to be gods.
And they've always been around. This isn't a new thing. So, yeah.
Yes. And
it's pythons and all Bigfoots and werewolves and that kind of job as well.
And all kinds of ancient, like, weirdness and monsters and whatnot, yeah.
And the other thing is that if a tiger married a lion, their child would either be a lion or a tiger. It would not be a liger. You carry over just one parent's BNA.
See, I was confused about that. Like, I was like, so if your dad was a lion and you were a tiger, could your kid be a lion? And it's like, oh, that makes sense. My dad was a lion, that kind of way. Or you could only pass down tiger from that point on.
Yeah, so I'm kind of wondering now, is there going to be some kind of thing where was there a lion crossed and a beast man had a child with a human, but then if only one set of DNA is passed on, the child would be human or appear to be human.
But like, obviously in our character's case, like, there's like, oh no, beastmen and human are different things, and it's like, well, they can sure turn into a very similar looking thing. So yeah.
In Mitchell's case, she's a third thing. She has, they think, like, her cells are able to undergo rapid mitosis, and that's how she can shape change.
That's the working theory, yeah.
This is all the setup, though, for a dolphin who wants to be a human idol because she's got an illegal cell phone which lets her look at face look, and has carefully cultivated a influencer-style personality. And this ties into Mashiro's wanting to reconnect to the human world, and she also bought a illegal mobile phone from the weasel. Sorry, mink. I do like how every time she has to explain that she's not whatever animal she's accused of being.
Yeah, not so outraged now anymore. It seems to expect it as well. Oh, it's the weasel. No, it's the mink. Anyways, you want a phone?
And yeah, hanging out with her causes Michiru she wishes and wishes and wishes, and she becomes human again. And so they run away to the human world where they're taken advantage by partiers.
As far as that, it could have been a whole lot worse. I was expecting it to get a whole lot worse and a lot more brutal, but what they mostly do is like, oh, I can't believe you're a dolphin. We don't hate you. In fact, you're kind of cool. Hey, how about you jump to this flaming hoop into the swimming pool? Yeah, you're so popular.
We'll put you in the fish tank and go like, yeah, because dolphins like salt water, right? And it's like, yeah, but dolphins breathe air, so you kind of...
Yeah, that's the stupidity rather than malice, I think.
No, but that's the thing. Like the closest, I mean, like it's not going to be like a 1-to-1 with civil rights things on planet Earth, but obviously it's going to make those things. It's kind of like performative homosexuality, where someone is like, I'm all about the lifestyle, but I don't know or do any practical things to help people who are that way.
Yeah, you haven't like even read enough into it to even get the basics of it, and maybe how like if you don't fully get it, at least how to be respectful of it. But I would have thought they would have at least be teaching in schools. Yeah, like dolphins are mammals and they need to breathe.
Yeah, these kids are pretty dumb.
This is actually about the failure of our education system.
Okie dokie. I still don't know why Dwayne's Skype thing keeps on leaping in size every time he speaks
Sorry.
The more excited he gets, the bigger he gets.
Yes.
As soon as he quiets down. Woo.
Hang on, I'm just going to take what I think.
I don't worry too much about it. We're mainly still a podcast. Okay, so yeah, but I know you say is it I think it's a borrowed civil rights metaphor.
No, for sure. Like it's definitely not a 1-for-1. Yeah.
As I did see somebody mention that there is a baseball episode, and I was like, "Fucking hell, it is the X-Men."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the X-Men, obviously as well. But I mean, like again, another borrowed civil rights thing. So yeah. Third hand at this stage.
We're looking forward to that one. Just to go straight for low-hanging fruit. Hey, remember that film, The Bad News Bears? But what they? They were all actually all bears. My God, no one's thought of this.
And I believe that's next week's episode.
Literally at the end of the episode, the guy is kind of going, it's like, wow, animals with superpowers. I'm very interested in this. And I was like, okay, who are you? Of the X-Men's Rogues Gallery or something.
Well, probably Magneto.
Okay.
So that's your fella from the whatever the company's called.
Sylvester Medical.
Yes, I was going to call him Sylvester, like the disco guy, and then I realised that's not his name.
Well, if he was Sylvester and he turned into like a black and white cat, that'd be pretty on point.
Dark secret.
It's fine. It's pleasant enough. It's not a world shifting narrative as far as I can tell in BNA.
No. I don't think it's going to do any big swings or anything for sure.
It's more about kind of building a mood as well, about Michiru's like distance, because she can take on a human form, but now she feels ostracized. So that it doesn't feel like she actually fully belongs either in the human world or in Anima City either. She doesn't quite know where she is. And the kind of clincher is that she's on her cracked phone, looking at an old social media post. It's because it's also her birthday today, and the social media things put up the balloons and everything like that. There's also a picture there sent from her mom with a birthday cake. They don't know where she is. It's like she's like hovers over that like button. It's like, no, I can't do it. I'm not ready to go back.
It's not going to be a 1-to-1 of being gay or anything like that, but that kind of feeling of wanting to have that connection and wanting to have this connection that you lost, but like trying to get back to more innocent time, a time when you felt like you belonged and you were more part of the norm. People are going to identify with that, whether or not they're gay. Like that's been someone's situation in a lot of times in their life.
Okay, Dwayne, I have found out how to fix you.
Ah, hooray!
Hold them down, boys.
Okay, change the bounding box type to scale to inner bounds. Oh, now you're gigantic, but I think
his true form is revealed.
Make you smaller again. Okay.
Should I just like stare straight ahead and try not to move too much?
No, that's fine. This is all exciting stuff, which I won't even edit out of the podcast. Dear listener, imagine Brian moving around a box with Dwayne in it until it is a little bit smaller than a white box that he's using as a border. There we go. That'll do. Right. According to Microsoft, that should keep you within your limits.
Sorry.
It's entirely down to BT. It's the available network, so it's both BT and Microsoft is the issue. It adjusts you depending on how much bandwidth there is between me and you.
Wow. Dwayne breaks the internet.
It's only a matter of time, I suppose, yeah.
Exactly. Then we've got, moving on to less technical things, extra Olympia Kyklos build a Tropaion.
It's a very special episode of Extra
Yes.
Olympia Kyklos.
Or at least a very special last couple of minutes.
Yeah, when we're talking about BNA, like not like doing exactly like a 1-for-1 thing to the world, this is like, let me just tell you about history. It's like, oh, okay. I guess
Yes,
we
but
better-
first of all, Demetrius is complaining about the summer.
Yeah.
Which annoys the mayor. He's like, "What are you? A Japanese voice actor just pretending to be Greek?"
Of course
Then I
not.
did like the cicadas kind of thing, and I was like, I don't think they have those in Greece. I could be wrong, but
Yes. And they're like, he's like, "It's the summer. It's time for war." He's fantasizing about all the new things he's going to get from a war.
it's like war's super small because like, oh, the wife's been on to me to rob some new fucking roof tiles, and I was just like, that's a very minor war.
Yeah, he's really been on my ass about this. It's my personal Vietnam, which hasn't happened for another couple of millennia. Rather.
You don't like summer. You don't like war. You like everything that people like. You just like everything people like, Demetrius.
Being contrary now.
The dolphin has apparently made its way back to. I was about to say present day because it's present day for our main character, but
I mean, like
it's present
set
day
in-
for the
It's
dolphin.
set in two different versions of history. So
Yes.
yeah, I guess you have to pick one to be the now when you talk about time travel.
Ooh,
Yes,
this
he seems to be
odd,
hanging out
I'm-
with Demetrius for a bit, but when it's time to make fun of Demetrius, he hops on those bongos and starts playing along with the bear and the owl.
Fair weather friend.
I did like Demetrius running away, and it's like, hey, I haven't finished my song about how you suck.
Drachma, get him.
And then he runs into another guy who's eager for war, and because another guy who's thinking he's showing off the Spartan spear that he got in the last war.
He wants to give you his top 10 things he's plundered as
Yeah.
part of war. And he's like, oh, I could do with a new armor set, actually. Grab one of those, yeah.
Demetrius isn't impressed. He's like, no, you hold on that spear. You feel how it feels in your hand. There's also like a comment about, no, don't worry, Demetrius, you're a commoner. All you've got to do is stand on the sidelines and hurl rocks.
You can't get in trouble doing that. That's
Yeah.
fine. Wait, is war basically like just like a really rough football game in ancient Greece? Because that's what it fucking sounds like.
Well, it's seasonal, happens very often.
Between towns, yeah.
You can make a very lucrative career off of it.
I've seen what the next episode's called, so we'll see what happens when the guys from ancient Greece who are known for liking war more than anybody else show up. And he's holding onto this spear, and Zeus hits him with a lightning bolt, sending him to the future, where he meets the professor, and the professor comments that neither of them are now surprised at them running into each other.
Oh, it's like, hey. You know, it's weird. I'm not weirded out by this time travel anymore. No, me neither.
Yeah. Anyways, it's summer here as well. What are your wars like?
Too soon, Demetrius. Too soon, still.
Really fun. He's like, oh well, let's come on, I gotta show you something. Oh wow, really? Because I was thinking, you're so advanced in some of the other ways that maybe your wars are pretty rad as well. He's just like, this, what are you going to this dark theater for? Oh, if
Is
you're going
it
to see
a
a play, I hear Aristophanes is really like rocking up the charts right now. I'd love to see a bit of him. Ooh, that's two of these guys with the weird sticks in their hands, and the pictures are coming to life. It's amazing. And it just kind of fades out as they watch this black and white war footage. It's just we're going to leave this point right here.
Like him kind of going, it's like, yeah, we're not going to do any wars anymore because this is like 19 years after.
Yeah,
Yes.
64, yeah.
60. Yeah. So obviously, with the age of your man, it's like, yeah, he probably remembers from being there.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Demetrius is also because he's so impressed by that the city has been built here. It must have been won like plenty of wars, accrue all that wealth to get this size. It's like, yeah, about that. Yeah, just props it there. But then it's immediately shattered by the always hilarious closing credits song.
Of course.
How and
It's
why
not
you
like they
build
could do a
it,
sad
Tropaion.
one of those. Yeah.
Which, was a big monument to build after he won a battle or a war, but then that eventually became like the modern day trophies that we give away to athletes who win things.
It was
Or
like
for
you'd take the things you robbed in a war, and put them in a big, like, cool pile to show off what you robbed. What's the Greek word again? It's like trophy.
Tropaion.
Tropaion. Build Tropaion. Yes, it's
Build a Tropaion.
but the best gag in this ending credits is the fact that the logo for this phrase "Build a Tropaion" is drawn like a 1970s or early 80s giant robot show.
Well, just the
I guess
name
build a
sounds
thing.
like it.
Yeah.
Think of like God Mars.
Yeah.
Think of how many other things that kind of codded a name from
Mazinga's got a bunch of ancient Greeks as villains.
I hope they continue to use that exact same couple of second long stock footage of Zeus every time they mention it. It's like, oh, bring honor to Zeus, and just the smiling bearded man. I fucking love that guy.
Oh, I just like just the way that it is filmed in news. It just feel like this probably could well be stock footage, but I gotta think they must be filming some of this for local foreigner actors. At least some of the clips.
Yeah.
That was my feeling as well.
They're having a fucking ball, and it's really funny to watch every time. And I think that we kind of needed a song this time around because like, oh, that's heavy. So we needed a stupid song about the origin of the word trophy.
Yeah, but I still think there's a bit of satire by giving it the giant robot logo thing of like saying what war has become is it's a cartoon to sell toys now.
Yeah.
And how that's so similar to what the Greeks were doing.
And your trophy is your 1/16 scale real grade fucking whatever. Yeah.
And then, like, eventually they had this generation that were so far removed from the war, they were able to look back upon these things as just, like, tanks and planes and battleships as just sort of cool mechanical things rather than the things that were used to attack their country.
For more on this, see Eurosira Movie 1. Because I think that mentions the phrase, the generation that doesn't know war. Because I believe is like a reference to an article or a book which had been written at the time, but Megan A's using it in the negative that he hasn't. He's demanding to see war. He feels like he's been left out.
Oh dear.
Next up, we've got God of High School, episode 3. Alexa, you're not on the podcast. Shut your face.
Wisdom Kingdom.
That's it. I think
Stand up for your rights. No, I'll never get that again.
Okay, so we opened up with what did we open up with? It's like people going
shadowy
mad.
cultists.
Yes.
We must spread the word of the evil Taekwondo.
And then the second thing is the two lads in the hospital. One has been broken so that he's not taking part, and the other one has been mind broken. So,
yes.
Bit of a kerfuffle.
So our hero must fight a commissioner if he wants to stay in. This is because ex-scar forehead, devil haircut, recognizes the name of our hero's grandfather. Mm-hmm. And he wants to test him out to figure out exactly what his deal is.
It's a two-part test. Part one is he has to beat this guy in a specific special rules match, I guess. And part two is take home this fruit. It'll make you healthy. Wink. Yeah. I was just like, did you give him poison bananas? What the fuck, dude?
Well, that's a point I'm going, like, okay, we get it. Jin Mori is Goku already. He's Son Wukong. All right.
That is my very first sentence of my note. Niall, It is, do you get the Journey to the West thing yet?
I mean, for fuck's sake, no,
he's wearing the little booties. Yeah,
he's wearing the boots, like the eye mask over his head. It's like the crown. He loves fighting dudes. He's very dumb but very earnest and likable.
The first fruit he eats is a banana.
Mm-hmm.
And then he is given
the peach.
Special peaches.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, don't worry. It's going to get... But have you spotted who the other people are supposed to be yet? That's where it's less obvious.
Yeah, well, it's as well, like, reading some interviews and things, and a couple come out this week. And of course, the author of the comic, Young Park, he's very much a Dragon Ball fan, and that's translated over to the comics to obvious extent. But a Journey to the West and the whole Legend of Monkey King, that's fair game for anybody to use.
Yeah.
I can't remember these. The girl who uses the sword. I don't know
Mira.
these people. Yeah, she has to fight a wrestler. It's like I thought this was God of High School, but I guess maybe she's still in school. She's Korean American.
Yeah,
like American high school, I guess. I was kind of hoping for some more of the wrestling girl because I was like, oh yeah, fucking powerbomb someone with a samurai sword, yeah. But
yeah, well, hold on, because this eventually progresses on to an international tournament, so there's going to be folks all over.
Yeah, my understanding is a lot of these people will be back, presumably having learned something from their defeats.
Backdoor rule. The rune of GAA is going to ruin the God of High School as well.
And, hang on, let me just turn myself down a little bit on the actual YouTube. Okay, yeah, so, but she breaks her sword, but that's okay, because she can use her no sword style.
Don't need a sword.
Which seems even more effective than that when she had a sword. But,
well, I mean, like, I guess it's sharper than a wooden sword for some reason, because you can just cut you with airwaves, yeah.
You gotta concentrate a lot more to be able to hold
cut
down
someone with no
your bare
sword.
hand to a killing edge.
Yeah.
Then we learn a little bit more about our third guy,
Han,
and his dying brother. And I thought this was going one way, and I was quite pleased that it didn't go that way. I thought it was because of, like, we see the flashback of the guys trying to get a rise out of him, and I was like, oh, is he going to release of all this built up rage? But no, he is literally that calm, and he's perfectly fine in the fight as well.
That was really good. I thought exactly the same fucking thing. He's going to be like, oh, I'm going to take it out in the ring, and it's like, no, he's just like sticks and stones, dude.
Yeah, well, he doesn't want to lose his job either, because he's going to make that money to help his friend in hospital. Even these guys are going, oh, your friends at him, only nerds get cancer. It's like, what the hell is up with you lads? Why are you mocking his father who's like dying in hospital?
And the other guy is with the book. He studies techniques, so he's come to join the tournament to see if his theory can be proved. Guess what? By the end of the episode, it is not proved.
So his theory is like, if I studied all the karate moves, because your man does, is it karate or?
Yeah, karate,
yes.
Yeah, it's like some traditional karate, but it's like, I know all the moves for it, so therefore I can predict your moves, and I'll just get out of the way and hit you with my baseball bat several times.
But he wasn't counting on secret techniques.
So as the judges talk about it, secret technique number 1 is
the black tortoise. They're all like the animals with the cardinal points of feng shui.
So he like cancels out his hit with his own hits, so blocks it. Number 2 is the
bird, knocks him off balance.
And then the tiger style is just fucking wreck him, which is like, that's a good style.
You didn't even get to the dragon. He was about to, but you didn't need to.
Yeah, he was about to pop it out, but your man was already finished.
But I did like how happy he seemed that his theory was being proved incorrect.
That's proper scientific thinking. You're excited that you were wrong. It's like, ooh, what does that mean now? Yeah.
I liked him. The fight with the bare fist against a dude with a metal baseball bat. It was giving me back to Yakuza and Kiryu fighting Majima or something. It's very much in that mold.
I did enjoy that fight more than the sword versus wrestling one. Although I did like your one kind of try and get in underneath the sword and get the physical moves out.
Yeah, well,
get within the reach of it, kind of thing.
Yeah. I hope it's kind of see more odd matchups like that. Like what would
exactly.
wooden sword style against like all grappling style. See, like she doesn't need the sword to beat you. Like there's some dude there. I was seeing some clips again while watching something else of the first episode, and there was like a fella in there who had like double nunchucks. I thought, oh, he's just like when the scrubs got knocked out in the battle royale. I thought, oh, bring someone like that back. That was cool.
I now realise why I had the Skype Nile thing muted. It was because, for some reason, you're coming through both channels. So there may be, on the YouTube, there may have been a few minutes there where Dwayne and I were like extra loud.
It can't be contained.
This is a learning process, people. This is a learning process.
Oh, dear.
Okay, next up, there is another fight. The fight against the Commissioner, which is incredibly short because he didn't want to punch him with his glasses on. So when the fight starts, he instantly, in a blink of an eye, is on him and has removed his glasses.
Pushes him over.
And yeah, the special rules are you just have to knock him down once and you win.
Yes.
So it's like, hey, I'll take your glasses off, bud. Trip, fall. Like very fucking schoolyard kind of thing, except for the super speed, obviously.
It's fucking, but he fucking got him good, you know.
And he barely makes it in time after like coughing up blood all night, it seems, from getting poisoned.
Yes.
But yeah, your man kind of loses his shit a little bit, and he knocks him on his ass for good. And then he loses his shit a lot, and he has to be held back by every other fucking referee.
Yeah. Could you summon his stand?
Well, this is after he summoned a stand,
yes.
yes.
He summons a giant clown with a scythe, which, if is not one stand, is at least two. I was like, okay, that's where we're going. Good to know.
But the rest of the commissioners jump in and hold him back. Before it can go whatever. But nope, yeah, he won within the confines of the rules, so he's back in the mix again. So that's all right.
And the other guy gets his pay. Was it reduced or suspended? I can't remember.
He gets half pay for like 3 months.
Judge Q, apparently this character's name is. He wanted to fight Judge R, but he was not allowed.
Yeah.
Well, that Q said is like, I'm actually tougher than that guy, and he was like, okay, that's I'll fight you then, 4 eyes. It's like, dude, not cool.
I think he was worried he didn't want to hurt him by breaking his glasses into his eye.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. It's nothing. His summoned is called Joker, apparently.
Right. Yeah. More fights. That's good. That's what we came here for. Did you have a look at the small documentary they had put up there as well?
Oh, bloody hell. Yeah, I meant to watch that. I forgot to. Yeah. How'd you find it?
There's some nice little bits in there. Sunko Park, he's a very enthusiastic and earnest fellow. And he really wants to do a good job at this, sometimes at the expense of his animation director. But he's really into this. He wants to do a good job, and he's very convincing. He's like, I want to do it this way, but there'll be like tons more work. Yeah, but it'll be great, I promise. And it's like, oh, okay, birthday boy, we'll let you do it. But yeah, he feels very liberated as well. The author of the comic, Young J. Parkes, says, I wrote that story like 10 years ago, or where it is right now. So I'm fine with them like trying to like compress things together to speed up the pace and, trying to elaborate on little detail as well. Like, go ham on it. Because this is like, the dream people I wanted to get very close to it anyway, and they're doing a great job. I feel as well that Crunchyroll were behind this as well, and they're saying, yep, same job, just do whatever you want, do this the way you want it, and we'll back you all the way. So he feels as well, with that level of trust put in me, I want to do a good job, so I feel nervous in that respect. Like the liberation feels like constricting in one sense, because it feels putting a lot of pressure on me and the rest of the team here. But it's just working out for him. He also are still have contacts with some tokusatsu actors from doing Garo Vanishing Line, so they got them in for a day or two and just filmed them in mocap suits, just doing some of the moods as reference for the fights in the show.
That's cool.
Which is, again, it's like a random or kind of rather thought by Sunko Park about, what if? Yeah, we did it that way. But again, it'd be a lot more work. Yeah, but we could do it. We know the guys. Just to get them in. Yeah, I appreciate the energy.
Yeah.
And everybody knows as well, we saw like Robert Downey Jr. or Tony Stark anyway as the President of America in the first episode. That wasn't Barack Obama when it was written, but that was updated to that. That sounds like a cool idea. But that was probably one of the last voice roles for Keiji Fujiwara, who was the voice actor for Robert Downey Jr. in one of his Amazing films. So it's kind of that's an odd little thing. He's not credited or not credited yet, and on the page for this Forgot High School, but this small little cameo thing. Just, a bit more poignant, remembering those we've lost this year.
Talking of things that Niall watched and I didn't, Fruits Basket, episode 16. Ask him for me.
Well, Dwayne watched too as well.
I know, but I wanted a segue.
All right. We get shoujo espionage action. Toru is going to infiltrate the Soma estate because she has somebody she wants to find and ask something of. Because they got talking about at school with Uotani about, you know this Corona fella? Maybe this Corona fella I met, because he was this like very beguiling, handsome stranger, but I just bumped into him in the shop one time. I'm never going to see him again. It was like, no, it might be, because I met him here at the Soma family house for the summer holidays, and I met him there briefly. He seemed like a very tall, beguiling stranger. Maybe it is the same dude.
Yeah, brown hair, brown eyes. He seems really cool and collected. It's like, nah, my guy was a dozy fucker. So, and she's like, I'm going to check just because obviously you're still hung up on this dude, because she quit her job in the convenience store. She took another job, but because she was afraid that she was waiting for him, like waiting every new guy who come in, she'd turn her head towards, just in case it was him. And it's like, I can't live like that. I need to fucking let it go. But obviously, she's not quite letting it go. She had to quit her job because she's so hung up on him. So her good friend Toru is obviously going to put herself in danger, as she always does, and go to the Soma estate. Maybe once around the block. She's too scared to go in the first time, which is like, yeah, fair enough. It's a big ask, and no one asked you to do it except yourself.
No, but you don't want Akira coming along and like digging fingernails into your face either.
Sure.
But she manages to get in past the front gate at least, and
she gets in because she literally bumps into our little rabbit kid's. It's his kid's sister, isn't it?
Yes.
Or is it half sister? Might be half sister.
No, little sister.
Okay.
Is that this is like Momiji's parents. His mother was like, she was so like whatever, gassed or traumatized about giving birth to his zodiac child. Usually like with the other extreme, rather than being like very attached. That they hypnotized her to erase her memory, and this is
like I don't get why it's so disturbing. Is it that she gave birth to like a live rabbit? Was that? I mean, like that's weird, but like, is that it? I don't quite understand.
I think it was when came out as a baby, but I think what was it when he was held by his mother for the first time? He transformed immediately, and that freaked her out.
Okay.
And then his dad thought, well, the best thing to do is try and wipe her memory of this whole affair. But he's still hanging around because he's still there. You think they just like some other kids or put on some other mother in the family, and then it's like just going to just watch out for his little sister from a distance. She can never know. But the same little sister, she knows what's going on. She knows that Momiji is her big brother, and she doesn't know why that she can't go see him because Daddy says no, she's got to stay away from there. But I really want to meet him. I'll show you. Come on in here with me, and takes Toru to like this little hole in the wall they can crawl through, and it says, "You can go ask him. You can ask like Momiji if you'd be my big brother and come play with me." And
because she's listening to Momiji like play the violin quite well and quite sadly, and she's like, "I'll take it up the violin as well, so we can play together." Like like kind of the way a little kid would think, but like unbeknownst to her, we find out from Momiji that they have the same instructor because the dad was just like, I don't really know any other violin instructors. I'll just get him to teach the little girl. And I was like, it's too much of a connection. Momiji, you don't get a violin instructor anymore. Your little sister does. I was like, she's really screwing over the kid in every way you can, aren't you?
That's like, again, Momiji, he's fine with this. It's just like, if it means like my little sister can have something nice and learn the violin as well, then that would kind of in a way something that we can share together. And like one day, I hope it's a very faint hope of like having a little violin concert just for my family. And Toru was getting really torn up about this as well. It's just, this is twice in one day now for me, or have these friends of mine, people I care about, and they want to be close to the ones that they love, but are deciding themselves deliberately to keep away, like, because it's for the greater good or it's for some other reason. And she can't fucking parse that, because I would do anything to be with my loved ones again. And thinking back to her mother and thinking back as well to her father, who we haven't seen appear as yet, but she's this
the people she cares about
away.
are gone, so she has to learn to live with them not there. But these people are still alive and in the world, and they're right fucking there. You could just be with each other and be happy. So she refuses to let anyone else not be together, basically.
But immediately helps her out there, because she says he's here to see Corella, and says like, no, I want to take that way around, but be careful. And because immediately as well, he was there when Akito attacked her, and he doesn't want that to happen to her again either. And if anybody catches you, just blame it on me. Say I let you in, and we'll
Toru refuses to be shown around by him, but he draws her a map, and he's like, yeah, you just let me take all the flack for it. It's cool.
Yeah. He's just still, it strikes me as probably one of the, if not the most, like, emotionally mature of the Zodiac family. It's just like he's taken all this onto him. He knows that this is agony. This, he sees his little sister, but never ever like to let slip who he actually is to her, and has to always be there from a distance. And he's fucking 14 or 15, and he's putting on the cute.
And he's the one who acts the
most so
childish. Yeah.
But then when you catch him in like a real moment, it's just like, it's cool, man. That's just how that goes sometimes. So hardened. Toru stumbles around, tries to stick around.
It's some good awkward sneaking action. I especially like the crouched walk. I did enjoy that. That's funny. And also, just as soon as she sees the person, it's like, oh shit, there's a person, and runs away. It's like most of them seem to be doing their own shit and not caring. You know, a woman sweeping the walkway, or some people talking and walking, and it's just like, nobody fucking cares, dude.
That's what the almost blunder into her doorway there, where there's a woman there, a female voice calls out, and she's caught. Who is there? Who is that? But Corella was just like, oh, it's just me. He just turned up. It's just me. I'm just on my way somewhere else, just passing through. It's like, okay. And then it's this like very kind of slotty, trying to keep one Toru's head down behind the bush. And it's just like, okay, danger passes. Okay, let's move out this way, out of view. What the hell are you doing here? It's just like, Corella, you gotta go meet Uojani. You gotta meet Uojani. And then that sets them off. It's like, oh, he's got his reasons for wanting to keep away. And he as well as he kind of knows that I'm locked into this, but I can't let it slip. And it's for the greater good anyway. I don't want to get her involved in this either. And it's kind of coming out from the opposite side away, where I'm keeping away as well. I don't want to bring anybody else into this. And
yeah, I mean, like he's kind of threatening Toru with like threats he's obviously not going to follow through with. It's like, hey, you're not allowed here. I could call the cops and they'd like arrest you and shit. And she's like, okay, but before you arrest me, hear me out. You should talk to her. I'm going to give her her contact information, and her speech kind of like culminates in the whole that while you might want to see her today, you might want to see her tomorrow or the day after that or in 10 years, and to just not deny yourself the opportunity to change, because everyone's capable of it.
Yeah,
which I thought was really nice. And then I did like her thing at the end of holding up her hands and just going like, just take me in.
Bang the cuffs on me.
And he's like, I don't have any handcuffs on me, but so I'll let you off this time. But yeah, no, I did like her speech again. It's kind of her modus operandi with trying to help these Soma guys out.
It's reinforcing the theme of it. It's just, you feel like you're locked into this fate. It's come more to the fore when it's over this threat of them all being locked away or like forever in this house with Akito until they die is in. But it's like, but as long as you stay alive, as long as you're here in the world, things might change. You might think it's inconsequential what you do for people. You don't have to affect anybody's life, but you do. Like while you're here, things can change, and you can change, and you can change other things in people. So you gotta hang around. There's as well like get more kind of detail and more kind of like I guess context, or you're getting more kind of a different tone when she's flashing back to her mother. I get the sense that her mother obviously still grieving over her father who passed away too soon as well. Almost feel like she couldn't handle it and probably was going to take her own way out of it, but was stalled for whatever reason. And I think that's something that she imparted to Toru as well. So it's like, no, like while you're still alive, things can change. Things can get better. It might seem crap right now, but if you're dead, it's all over, and that's it. But if you can just survive and persevere, then you might be able to make things better for yourself. And so you got to stick around. You got to be here for people.
I did like we didn't see him like straight up take the contact information. I assume it was just like her email or her phone number or something. But we do see him with the little slip of paper later. So he's kind of like he's taken it on board somewhat.
Yeah, well, they're all, I think, gazing wistfully up at the moon after a hard day. Like even Thor himself is up on the roof of the house, just staring up, gazing at the moon, just being to the ringer today. But Kyo is there, and you'll listen to her and hear her out as well. But yeah, you can't immediately. He's playing violin in the moonlight, and they're all staring out at this. But he's touching a bit of paper. Yeah.
I did like Kyo kind of going where they're just talking about it, and all of a sudden she starts like crying these big ugly globule fucking tears, and he's like, "Whoa, what the fuck did I say?" And she's like, "Oh, I don't know why I'm crying," and awkwardness. But it's nice to have that kind of bit of levity through someone reacting emotionally to an emotional time, a trying time.
Yeah.
But still good stuff.
Yeah, there's some nice backgrounds in this episode. Lots of life streets, like very palatial, sunlit gardens and verandas, and I just shot it later on as well when they are just looking at the window at the moon. Just the way they kind of captured how like full on beam of like moonlight I guess hitting the window looks like it's pretty good, and it makes it feel all the more sad and sorrowful.
Righty ho, Wacky TV Nanana. Found a gap in there to move things on. Episode 15, Romance, the Mysterious Shared House, in which I can't remember the name of the.
We're still getting Terrace House.
Eyebrow.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I was trying to figure out whether it is specifically Terrace House reference or is a specific TV Tokyo reference, because Terrace House is not a TV Tokyo show. It's Fuji TV, isn't it?
So you think it's like a TV Tokyo rip-off of that, is it?
Probably.
Or something similar.
Yeah.
But I couldn't figure it. Anyway, the joke is the little one ends up in this house, and there's two women there played by the other two cast members.
Yeah.
And the characters' names are based on the other two cast members' characters' names. And they keep on having circular conversations, and he can't get any information out about the Kraken from them.
So he arrives at the new house, and they're like, "Hey, who the fuck are you?" And one's got a knife, but she's actually just peeling an apple. She's like, "Oh, you're the new cast member. Cool. It's about fucking time one showed up." And one of them is obsessed with going to the mall. Let's go to the mall.
Yes.
The other one wants to go to the pool. And he wants to talk about the Kraken. He's like, "I always about the Kraken. This is why you'll never have a girlfriend." That kind of thing. It's very strange, and they claim to know all about the Kraken. Oh yeah, we know all about the Kraken, but I really want to go to the mall.
Yes, and you can only learn a woman's secrets once you start dating.
That's
them.
it. Yeah.
So they cannot give you information about the Kraken until that happens.
It does show that the other two lads do have a bit of range on them.
Oh yeah. I mean, they seem like pretty funny actors, even when they are even if they are still cracking up with certain lines. And I'm very impressed they managed to hold up their nerve here when they're doing these bits. So I do like have the high pitched like female voices. Once it's been hard to keep a straight face in that booth. It's
But that's it. It's very short, and it's kind of just the one gag repeatedly. But the gag is that the conversations just keep on turning to the same topics each time. Then we've got Gibiate, Episode 2, Beyond the Maelstrom, in which Maeda retrieves the sword, and on the way, in bringing the sword back, takes a mortal wound from one of the Gibiates. Meanwhile, our hero is sulking about his dead master, and then the history books that Kathleen's mum reads to him about how shitty his master was.
Oh yeah, that guy he kept betraying people till he got fucking beheaded.
Can't believe my master was a dirty scumbag. What was that fighting about?
It's not even that. He still wishes that he was there with his master when his master was executed.
I should have been there to chop him and then get the chop myself. that would have been the right thing to do, and then everything would have
Yes.
went well. Yeah, sure.
And throughout the episode, everyone's asking him not to say Dono. We don't say Dono anymore.
Yeah.
And the one person who doesn't is Maeda.
Hmm.
And he becomes his new master. And he gets to fulfill his destiny by chopping Maeda's head off at the end. After he starts hearing the sound of water. Also, he's physically turning into a monster before that, right?
Yeah, there's that.
Weird
He's
old
still
fuck.
animation. He's not CG yet, but so he's still human. You're still human if you're animated by hand, I guess.
Yes. And the reason that this has all happened is because somebody turned the lights off.
Yeah, it looked like there was like a
Which-
sparking power thing, but it seems like
Yes.
that was interference more so than an accident.
Yes. Yeah, because I was like, oh, is one of these people secretly a bad guy? And then we reveal 2 non-secret bad guys right at the end of the episode. I was like, well, I guess it was those 2. And then also a monster with like some sort of mace for a hand. Other good stuff in this is Sensui questioning why he needs to have 2 little belts over a bicep in his costume.
Of the 2 things I like about the show, one is I like how refreshingly old-fashioned it is, despite their CGI, possibly because of it in some places. And 2, I like that they just go, because it looks cool. And I'm just like, yeah, that's a good reason. It's like, why did you dye the ninja's hair blue? Because you look pretty fucking cool.
I will stand out even a lot more. I've been much as a bit of as a ninja, but I can see your thesis. I can understand that. I want to be cool as well.
I do like the ninja getting annoyed at all the chores the professor's making him do.
Yeah.
Just simply because he's the one who seems to pick up on future things quicker of the 2. But yes, Sensui, talking of throwback things, he has really cool action music when he goes into overdrive and starts slashing up monsters.
Yeah. The glowy eyes, the cool music, the wah shouting really loudly.
Yeah, it's total trash, and I'm probably gonna have to pick between this and God of High School next week.
See, I feel like
which
I'm
one.
gonna drop this for something that's good, but it's good trash. It's
That
very
old
good
man.
trash.
Maeda was so excited to get killed by a samurai.
Oh,
That
that fucking old man
in
who's
all
like,
my
oh, he's
years-
running with the sword, and all the guys are like, come on, come over here, old man. And it just for ages, like, he's gonna get stabbed, he's gonna get stabbed, and then he gets stabbed and carried off by a monster. And I was like, yeah, okay, that's about right. And then he has to die, and then you see the old man in the fucking clouds, and I was just like, oh, I love
Yeah.
this. I fucking
Yes.
love this. It's beautiful.
I'll be watching over you now, Sensui. And we also had more from Brian and Adam.
I thought they were gonna
Brian still
fucking
being
die
the
this
calm
episode.
one.
I'm so fucking surprised.
Yeah, they're going to pour
Adam
in
being
out
the one who's-
some sochu for Maeda. He promised going to have some when he got back, but now we can't.
Oh yeah, they were like, I'd be fine with the sweet potato version or something like that. It was just like, it was like, guys, don't talk like that. You're going to get killed if you talk like that. No, just the old man got killed this episode. So, well, that and a bunch of random people, I guess. Yeah.
A bunch of random people, and then at the end, a family who we never met who were bludgeoned to death by the monster with the arm with a.
With the
Mace
mace.
on the
Yeah,
end of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, we've burned our shelter to the ground because we had to make a fire to.
We needed the light to keep him back, but even the ninja was like, "This isn't working at all. I'm going to use that copper wire and strangle one of these fuckers."
yes. This is what I know more about wire and gravity.
And grenades. He's just like, "Oh, grenades! I get it. You throw it, explodes. Simple." Yeah.
Yes, and his excuse was, well, I was always interested in Western things in the Edo area, so it's natural that I should pick up things quickly in this modern era.
We also get a practice sword fight with himself and your one.
Kathleen.
Yeah, because she's like, you're the toughest guy here, and it's like, actually, which one of you is tougher? That's probably rude to say. And he's like, we're both probably equally tough, but he's better with a sword. And she's like, okay, you got to beat me with a sword, and he promptly does very well against her. And she's like, initially I was like, she seems a bit standoffish. She's like, oh, okay, no, you're badass with a sword. Cool. You're allowed to be in the cool gang.
That's correct. He's very badass with the
I'm
sword.
surprised her mother survived as well. Again, that seemed to be someone who's like, oh, she's there like turning around like a crazy person. It's like, oh, hello there, monster. Can you tell me about the Edo era? It's like, oh my god.
Well, we need her around because we need to get more details of Sensui's past to be able to refer to her. Well, according to the historical record, it seems like this.
Or I suspect it will be referring to whoever the third person is of the title of the next episode.
She needs to be around long enough to explain who that guy is. Yeah, okay.
Yes, who is the giant bald man? And what's his deal?
It's an enjoyable show. Yeah, but good. No, not really.
I wish it looked better.
Yeah, but for the trash that it is, it looks exactly like what I'd expect it to look like.
It feels like this should be really more like what's this? A twin engine kind of thing, doesn't it?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Because at least that way it would still be incoherent. It'd be less coherent. That's the thing. This isn't incoherent.
No.
It's narratively, it's great. The story it's telling is cheesy as hell. But I was like, oh, everybody's asking him to not call them Dono except Maeda. I was like, that's how it's going to end. And then Maeda's going to fulfill. And yeah, it worked exactly as the story was set up to go. And I was like, that's great. But yeah, it's those CG monsters. And mainly the CG monsters, let's put it that way. You could get away with some of the other shortcuts.
I feel like everything else is a bonus.
CG
All the other
monsters,
cheesiness is just like, yeah, good cheese. But the CG monsters are just so bad. Oh,
At times they give you some good little ones. I must have you go back and clip it because I'm pretty sure is what I saw. It's like those flying ones are coming in through the window.
Oh, they're both shouting in the window. Yeah, that
I'm
was
pretty sure
I did enjoy that.
It's pointing down to the ground. It's like, yeah, there they are, get them.
But you've that gecko thing with the spider legs, but on the end of the spider legs are frog feet. I was like, okay, threaten. It's
more
gecko,
like
it's a lizard. For spider legs, scary. Frog feet, not scary. Okay.
It's more like one of those insects that has like the white feet that can walk on the surface of water.
Oh, water strider. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not the scariest looking thing you can do.
But
it's very strange.
If it was the size of a small car, though, I would
Sure.
say
Okay. The scariness of bigness. Yeah. I'm still enjoying it, but yeah, I feel like I'm going to drop it as well at some stage.
Things are
Millionaire Detective, I believe, is back this week. So
that's not a good sign for it. Yeah,
is going to elbow something out.
Well, we'll probably stick around long enough to be that giant monk, but other than that, yeah.
30th of July, so tomorrow.
Oh,
yay! Jackpot.
Righty-ho. Then we've got Deca-Dence, Episode 3, Steering, in which it's time to throw Same Natsume.
Natsume, yeah.
That's it. I have not written the character notes in front of me this week. Throw her in at the deep end, or at least
into the tutorial stage.
Tutorial level.
Yes, but she doesn't know that.
I love the way he's staying in universe. It's like, oh, there must be a nest nearby, and he's just like, this is just the fucking practice mode. It's I'm really enjoying those two fucking levels on it. That's really nice. When you see, and I knew they'd explain it at some stage. I was wondering what the fuck the deal was with those big glasses that they wear. It's like, oh, that's their hood, under which the other guys have a different hood. That kind of way. Later on, he's talking to a guy looking at a HUD of the battlefield who's seeing his fucking clearly robot man HUD over that. And I was just like, okay, that's pretty fun.
He's devoted too much time to this though, because he's getting calls from from corporate saying, hey, they haven't hunted down any bugs lately. What's up with that? We got
you didn't give any
jobs. Orders.
So you gotta find them yourself, buddy.
Bugs. There are always bugs in the system. You must hunt them down and eradicate them.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he has a quota to fill, but it kind of looks bad if he hasn't done anything, basically.
It tells you as well in greater detail precisely what happened to precipitate this apocalypse. Climate change and other things destroyed the entire planet. So the government and society broke down. So the only things left were corporations who built cyborgs and took over the world. Now and also
this corporation had a station already in orbit, so they decided to work from there.
And they bought the copyrights to humanity and established a compound, a whole area underneath the dome for purposes of entertainment and harvesting.
And also conservation. It's kind of like big game hunting in some regard, except you're not hunting the humans, you're helping the humans survive as part of it, or BG. Yeah. But then you see all those other little logos around the planet, and I was like, is there a few corporations left?
Yeah, because they just say that Solid Quake were the ones currently in charge, and that they created this system to make all the decisions for the people who used to be people, and who are now.
Should we call them robots or cyborgs? No, I'm not 100%.
I guess they're cyborgs. I guess
because they are taking out presumably a living brain or a brain module or something.
They've gone so far ahead past See a cyborg like we would say Natsume is a cyborg who's got a cybernetic arm, but these are so far even beyond the term that it's hard to kind of find out where the actual soul might begin or end.
Now, of course, we should all take this with a pinch of salt because we've already had one layer of lies.
Oh, it feels like there's another. Yeah, for sure.
Corporation,
weird cartoon robot man. Never. I don't think this is the real world. If you get my drift, like literally when you're on the ground, that's literally terra firma. That is a real world, but it's a false impression of it considering it's all under a dome and a big game to you.
Yeah, there's lies within the lies as we see towards the end. In that there's people, there's Katsuragi's not just he's not alone in the whatever he's up to, because the captain of the Deca-Dence also appears to be aware that he has brought on a tame gal doll onto the ship.
I did like the way it was. He's preparing for the battle and he's moving the troop reports and he's like, "You got a call from Katsuragi," and he's like, "What's up, dude?" He's like, "Yeah."
Is it Kaburagi or Katsuragi? I can't remember which way.
Kaburagi.
Kaburagi.
I'm probably thinking of the Iron Train. It's mixing me up.
A similar apocalyptic stuck inside
it's a similar thing, and the word is similar as well. I think that's what's catching me. But he's kind of getting a message from him and kind of like texting in his head back to him. It's like, "What the fuck, dude? I'm busy."
At work, call you back.
It's like, the thing that I know that is got out. So I'm just sorting it out. Don't worry about it.
It's okay. It's wearing an adorable costume, so people just think it's some kind of ugly dog.
It fucking worked, though. I was surprised the hoodie worked. Her genius disguise of putting the grub inside a hoodie. It did the trick.
But yeah, the other through line of the episode is Kaburagi looking into why she's a bug. It's because she was registered dead after the attack.
Yeah, her heart stopped for like a minute or something like that. So that must have turned. Her chip went, "Oh, this one's dead." Chip turns off.
Yeah.
And then it's the through line of she eventually gets the knack for using, and I'm not just watch the show if you want to figure out how all the pseudoscience works. I'm not going to try and explain it.
I like the pseudoscience.
I liked it as well, but the show does a good enough explanation that it feels. I think we'd only mess up trying to explain it.
I'll put it to you this way, right? It's very video gamey. The backpack picks up the fuel from the guys that you stab to keep going, and what makes it go is the fuel that you pick up from them. So it's systems that feed into each other, and it suits that it's very video gamey because that's what it is.
Yeah.
But there's also streams within the anti-gravity magnetic field that the monsters put up, which you can then write. Which is why
you can see with the goggles. And
yes,
I like that idea because, like, from us the viewers, the other fucking level, which is another level of watching the show. We're not playing the show. We don't see them flying around these streams. They can see them with their goggles, and we only see them through the goggles. So they can do whatever the fuck they want, but like in terms of video gaminess, it's like, oh, there are certain paths that you can move around within this system. Again, the opening thing where they're moving in like a little Pac-Man maze. It's just like, they can see the maze. We don't need to see the maze. We just get the action scenes.
Yeah, I just like how someone went, there's a scientific explanation as to why your pickup just float towards you and just fly into your inventory.
Yeah, exactly. It's good stuff. And he's taking her to the tutorial stage, which he's trying to describe in terms of like practical real world application, because you're talking to a human, not a player here.
But she figures out that the cybernetic arm she's got at the moment doesn't have enough finesse to turn the valve, which directs you quick enough.
Yeah, it lets you switch streams, it lets you do all the other functions, and she's obviously using the weapon with her good hand because you kind of need to stab the fuckers.
And yes, while she's sentimental about the arm, she realizes that she needs to upgrade, and so Kaburagi takes her to see his weapons dealer. who she's very suspicious of, even though he seems perfectly nice, apart from not wearing a shirt.
Oh, he's got
there.
like suspicious tattoos. Ooh, and he's in the rough part of town. Ooh.
But he smokes.
And he gets parts off him and builds her a new arm, and this arm is also got the gun built into it.
Also 5 fingers, so it's an improvement.
Yes,
all right, yeah.
It is an improvement. But then on the way back to the Deca-Dence, there is an attack from underground by like 48 medium-sized gal dolls of 7 different varieties, which ends up with what's the little thing guy called?
It's Pipe.
Pipe.
I wanted to call him Pike, and that's Dad's army. This isn't Dad's army. He ends up falling through a hole in the ground and lands on top of the jeeps of the Power, which are excitedly going, "Hey, subterranean battle!"
It's like, ooh, it's one of those rare underground raids. Cool.
Can I get some perps out of this?
And so it ends with our heroes going down, and they've not taken their floaty devices, their flotation tanks, to rescue their pet gal doll as they face off against tens of other gal dolls. So I assume all hell's going to break loose in the next episode, if it hasn't already. Cool. I think it may have aired already.
Like, based off the fact that this thing has done layers, I'd nearly try and predict where it's going to go, but I fucking can't possibly at this stage. That was such a twist from the get-go.
I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, it's a massive criticism of capitalism." I think it's currently could be.
Sure,
but
I'm not sure that's where it's going. Yeah.
No, my nagging feeling is, and this may be deliberate, and I hope it does question this at the end, is. And yeah, like I say, I'm hoping this is deliberate and not a shortcoming in the writing. Is that rather than Kabaragi's thing is with Natsumi is he sees her as a bug, but is a bug who should be able to fit in the system. He doesn't see that the system's the thing at fault.
Yeah, I think it's true by viewing. It's like, hey, these bugs that I've let live in the system, they're fine. Like you said, the system is the thing at fault, because it kind of shows the flashback to himself and Pipe where he finds this weird grub and he's like, "Oh, it's going to attack me." It's like, "Oh, it has no attack response. That's a bug. I better call it in." And he's like, "I'm going to spend the last of my in-game currency to buy a house to make this thing live in, because I don't need a fucking house."
Yeah.
But it's kind of like he's definitely questioning the system based off what happened, his friends and everything like that. So I think this is his way of doing it. It's like, maybe getting the bugs out of the system isn't bad, but it will mess up the system. But yeah, like I say, the lesson is the system is fucked up.
And the reason why I think I've got a little bit more faith is the character of, I can't remember her name now, the other woman who...
she looks up to the one of the few tankers that are in the Power.
No, not her. The one who's scared for
classmate
Natsumi.
who joins the
yeah.
The Hell World.
Okay.
Because really, that's the balance of, like, saying you should. She's correctly entirely unsuitable for going out into the workplace, and it feels a bit like oh, we should thrust the disabled out into the workplace, but not actually make the workplace any safer and more useful for the disabled.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the things they're getting across.
It's like, which is the thing, which is like, oh, is it just saying capitalism needs a way to wring out all the worth out of disabled people rather than throwing them away? Or is it saying that the system itself is wrong?
Yeah, the system doesn't account for being disabled, I think, in that metaphor. Yeah. I think that's probably more so what they're going for.
You should be more like Kabaragi, who is identifying the need and giving them the tools and resources they need to be able to function within this system, within the society, whatever state you're in.
But I would say that is not a criticism of capitalism. That is, it's reinforcing it, but just making it like, rather than finding a system which,
I think it's by pointing out that
cares for every member
feeds into the problem. As well,
And I do. I was getting the feeling in the writing that is there and it is supposed to be there.
I think it is probably supposed
It
to be
can't
there.
be ignored. I mean, it has such fucking
No.
sway over how fucking cities are built nowadays. So
There was a shot of them when they were walking around the power part where they have all the marketplaces and the body shops and that kind of thing. And there was definitely like two guys who passed out. One I think had a robot leg, and the other one I think had a robot arm.
yeah,
Because it's
it
like
is-
it's the guys who it's not the real body, it's their fucking avatar or whatever. But obviously they don't care about it, and that's one of the things. Like Katsuragi doesn't suffer from the same thing she does, so he's just flying around and going like, yeah, just get used to it, just go on the streams and fly around the place. And she's getting like motion sickness from flying around in zero G and stuff, whereas he doesn't get motion sickness because he's not suffering the same way. And I know in the case of the show, it's because he doesn't. That's not his physical body, but again, he's not suffering the same stuff she is. I think that's definitely in the text.
Yes. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, because particularly because of her talk about she was not complaining, she's just explaining that. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's
so,
the thing. Like basically, like he doesn't need a wheelchair ramp, but she does need a wheelchair ramp, and this is why they can't be fucking equal. The system is not in her favor, and that's not fucking fair. That's not right.
Yeah. But I don't think the story's there. It probably has to have Kaburagi come around to realizing.
At the moment, he's just poking at the edges of the system to see. It's like, this seems kind of fucked. I'm gonna let a few bugs loose and see if it goes bad.
Yeah.
He definitely has to come around. Yeah.
Well, kind of pointing out that something that seems to be like wrong in the system, because what if it was working properly, why would it function this way? If someone say, no, that's not a bug, that's a feature, that's how it's meant to work. It's meant to work as intended. And this other thing, no, it's going to clash with that. This is a bug. We need it to keep on doing this. It makes people miserable and doesn't value their work or their lives, but that's a feature. It's functioning as intended, and that's kind of fucked up. And that's again.
That is the feature of capitalism, that it will grind you and anyone else the fuck up in it, just to continue working. It's not mostly for people's benefit. So in that way, it'd be a commentary on it. Sure.
Yeah. Because the unfortunate thing is, based on the scenario they present you in this episode, there is no solution either.
Yeah.
But it's which of course is the doomed scenario of Conqueror Evolutio's argument as well. But there you go. Have fun enjoying the rest of these episodes.
And they're going to zip around and shoot monsters.
Yeah.
No, I'm still enjoying it. I like, even if there aren't much more to the layers of it, I'm liking that two different ways of looking at it.
I like it. I just think some of the high praise for its criticism of capitalism, I think, might be a little premature.
Let it tell its story first.
Some people's parts.
For sure.
I mean, I think people are just like looking for those messages in the media they consume. They want something that reflects their own beliefs. I think this is just something that is pervasive in our lives. It would be remiss of them to not bring up or acknowledge it in relation to the point it is trying to make. But as you say, it could be too early to say that it is pointedly and exclusively about that one thing. It probably is just one facet of a larger problem that it's trying to maybe make an address about.
And it could be something that it's only trying to address in a minor way as part of a plot that is also going to talk about other things. Yeah.
Whereas my fear is that is very much what it's talking about, but it won't quite go far enough when it gets to the end.
I'm not sure it's going to present a solution to capitalism that we can employ.
No. But my worry is that it will half-ass the disability argument that it seems to be starting to make in this episode. In that it won't realise how. Basically, Kaburagi in this is kind of exploiting Natsumi's willingness to work.
Yeah, because he's just experimenting.
Do a dangerous job.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I'm like, is he going to be punished or rewarded for that, or is he ever going to realise what he's doing?
I feel like that's probably I would hope that's the journey he's kind of go through, because at the moment he's like a questioning guy, but he's still a dick. And a questioning dick isn't exactly like a likable character. He's just like, I'm just gonna poke at shit and see if it fucking breaks. It's like that's not great, but that'll probably be his growth. Yeah, if they're doing it right.
If they're doing it right, but I mean, it'll still be a good show.
Yeah,
regardless.
sure.
I just
It'll look great at least.
That's it.
yes. Righty-ho. Appare-Ranman, episode 4, Let It Go.
Don't you start.
We're back. We're back again with the wacky races. So, I can't remember any of these characters' names. The samurai, somebody thinks...
is it Ling Shaolin?
Jing
Shaolin. Sorry.
But Kasame's like, he overhears a conversation at Bob's Diner.
Bob's Burgers.
And he's like, oh, cars cost a lot of money. Okay, all we need to do is sell that car we won in the last episode. Remember that?
It's like, half of that car is technically mine because I finished the fucking race.
We'll sell that, get tickets to go back to Japan. Sorted. No need to stay here any longer. And by the time he rushes back, it's been fully dismantled and taken apart piece by piece.
Laid out like very lovingly, very orderly, like according to category, according to area of the car. It's like, how did he do that? Oh man.
Very how you'd like start building a model kind of thing, but the reverse of that.
Well, he just wants to get into the guts of it and see if there's anything he can use for his own vehicle. Because that's a class car, but I'm going to win this race with the car I'm going to build with my smarts and what I know. Like I've got to prove my ability at this.
I did like by the time the kid comes in, it's like, hey, was that your man? I thought I heard the other guy, and he's like, yeah, he just came in and then left for some reason, and it's like, why the fuck did he even come then? They're both just so shitty. It's really funny.
So Jing's storyline is the bulk of this storyline. Yeah. She wants to prove herself as a driver, so she's going to race you blonde-haired fella. But she's got to use the worst car they've got, and none of the engineers will work on it, so she's got to get it sorted herself. So she takes it to our heroes.
Like the owner mechanic guy, he's kind of setting her up to fail. He's like, okay, yeah, I'll let you race since she demands it, but you're fired after the fucking race. Win or fucking lose.
Yeah, well, she seems to
and any other mechanics who want to work on it, you're doing it in your own fucking time. You're not doing it as part of your regular hours.
Yeah, well, no,
that's the bit at the end.
Yeah,
No, I mean, like, he was saying that to her. It had to be her thing, basically.
Yeah, well, she's setting it either way. Is that one? I don't want to work as someone like this for constantly giving me shit for being a woman. So, like, whatever happens out of this, I'm gone in any case. But I want to give you a shot at racing against this dirtbag here and show him what I've got, what I can do with this car.
Yeah.
So she takes it to Appare and Kasame and Appare, but she really wants Appare to tune it, not put in ridiculous shit into it to make it go super fast, because she wants to win on her own skill.
Yeah, because that's the thing with those cars. They're all exactly the same model. It's just the skill of the driver.
Yeah.
And Appare's like, drivers, not going to do it. Go and ask somebody else. Because that does seem to be the theme approaching in this, is like people who want to be drivers, people who want to be engineers, people who don't want to be known as engineers by the end. Yeah, and so they have to take it to the most European man in anime.
Dr. Europe. Where is he from? Europe. Which part? Europe.
The European Union. It was definitely a thing back at the turn of the century there.
So yeah, Al tunes it up for her.
Yeah, but it's interesting too, because this gives me a chance to peer into the guts of this American-made car, and I can see how they're built and make it some ideas for our own motors.
Mm-hmm. Well, that and he's just charmed by their brazenness of just like we don't want to do it and we can't afford to pay you to do it, and he's just like, how charming.
Yeah, also he thinks he's he's a nobleman. He wants to see a fair contest, a fair duel between two equal opponents here. Just wants to give her a good chance of that.
There's so many little good jokes in it. So when they kind of bump into him to go like, "Hey, can you fix this car?" He's bombing around in the hangar on the Segway, and he's really embarrassed about it. And I'm just like, that's great. I actually really like these characters, having been exposed to them for very little at this stage. But yeah, it's done a really good job of making me like them.
Yeah, it brings you right back into it. It's been that long. It's like, oh yes, these you know like exactly who they are and what the dynamic is. Even just jumping in here straight away, it's good.
I thought I should go back and watch like the last episode to catch up, but no, it wasn't necessary at all.
And they have the race, and she's about to win it because she's a smarter driver than the other fella, but he cheats at the end.
He crashes into her thing, which is they dock you points for that in racing games. So
yes, they argue, and she's about to punch him when the head of the team comes along and punches him instead. Which is my favourite bit of animation this week.
It was very good because it was setting you up for like a right hook, and then it's like a left fucking cross, and I was like, oh, that's nice.
Well, the catharsis is there. It's just I'm going to hit him. No, I'm going to hit him. Ooh. Do you know what you did, you jackass? For one thing, that was dangerous. You didn't do that in a race, but she's a better driver because she didn't just fun brake. That could have caused a crash anyway. She spun out and controlled that car and prevented it from careening into the stands or whatever. She's
prevented
it
getting damaged. And basically, his speech I thought was really good. It's like, listen, we just race around and around, and the people who bet on it just kind of put themselves, I want to be that driver, I want to be that guy. So a woman winning in this wouldn't matter to them. They're not out to see like women do better than men. This isn't a place to compete. It's just like a betting ring kind of thing. But I'll lend you number 0, and that's the stage you want to set if you want to people to care about women, because people will care about the winner in this case.
Yeah, like no one comes to the track. No women come to this track to watch these races. But like the media frenzy over this Transamerica race, let's say like if at the first checkpoint a woman racer was leading it, that would create a few headlines and maybe stir a few hearts out there. So if you were to like lend you this car and that were to happen, well, I would, that would be a nice happy coincidence, wouldn't it?
And also, if you win, you could share around with some of the guys here. I don't know. But and all the mechanics want to help her fix up the car to make it a cross-country racing car rather than a track racing car. It's pretty good. Like I did like the way it was kind of like, this isn't not that women's rights aren't a necessary thing, but this isn't the place for it. It's not going to do any good here. You could do better there. Kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's acknowledging it's at this point in history, like these big changes won't happen immediately or straight away, but it is showing that people's minds can be changed. And then
and it's the right time in history for that because there were literal real life examples of women adventurers.
Yeah,
this was around suffragette as well, right? There was definitely like some.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly which year this is currently set in, but
there was definitely like a movement around that. If it wasn't suffragettes, it might have been something else.
But there was lots of like women drivers and women pilots and things.
I was thinking at first of Nettie Bly, who was the adventuring journalist who smuggled herself into an insane asylum and reported of the awful conditions there, and then she travelled the world just doing these crazy exposés about places.
So that's taking care of that. Then we get introduced to a bunch of other drivers via newspaper headlines and a discussion between his name Dylan G. Alden and
the guy who wants to be head of is it GM?
Is it the GM company?
Seth Rich Carter.
Not going to be some stinking engineer. I can't go back, man. I got to win this.
Yes.
Cement my spot in the top ranks.
Iron Motor have hired TJ, one of the 1003.
Who do have a high bounty on their head, but the police will promise not to arrest him for the duration of the race.
Yes.
Not just him, but Gil the Butcher is entering also.
Yes.
I just seen him on the headlines and everything. I was like, this is exciting.
I just love to have have the exposition delivered efficiently and most amusing way via sensational headlines and often bad photographs or just like awkwardly posed. I like Jean. She has a car and everything like that, but she's trying to do a cool pose, but she's still kind of awkward. Doesn't know how to hold herself.
It's a bit stiff, but it looks cool. So, it works. And then when they show up to photograph the other guy's thing, they're just like, you're just one of the regular guys. We're not going to do an interview with you. And he's like, but but I cleaned myself up and everything.
They get one photo of course on me, and it won't be a good photo because she's blinded by the flash. She probably pull up a stupid face. It's like, okay, we got what we needed. Let's pack it up. But we made a car out of a boat.
And now he's more invested. It's like, we got to make front page news now, motherfucker.
We also see some other characters who don't get pages on the website, but mixed in with them is that one guy who does get a page on the website.
Anyone who's slightly got more design than another guy, it's like, okay, that guy's got a little design, but not enough to be a main guy.
The guy who hasn't got his shirt tucked in with the scar across his eye. My guess is that the story is going to make us think it's one of the 3 out of the 1,003 who killed the kids' parents, but it actually turned out to be that other guy.
Okay. Like one guy would be okay for a bandit.
Yeah, like they'll be bad, but they won't be really bad. Yeah, we get like a brief flashback that Dylan has to him and TJ holding guns at each other's heads. So I guess that went well.
Well, they're doing gun kata to each other in the intro, so I figure, there's some history there, sure.
Yeah.
So presumably, the other 3 who don't appear on the website, I assume, are there to be eliminated at various stages, so the main characters can carry on carrying.
Sucks to be them, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Good to have it back. Nice to see it.
Yeah.
And it just throws you back in, after this amount of time, and you can just pick it up the threads of it straight away. No hassle. Fun to watch. Nice little sections too. I really liked when Appare, he was late one night in the garage, and Eugene comes in and he sees him. He's kind of like visualizing driving the car over like different surfaces and conditions to try and inform his adjustments he must have made to the car, the engine. They kind of like thinking about it. Helps you kind of plan for the future. It helps you to kind of get used to these things.
He's basically running simulations, I think he says, because he can't. He doesn't have time to test drive this thing, so he's just like, I'm just going to run the simulations in my head.
Yeah.
Because he's that in tune with motors, and wouldn't you know it, he's talking to someone who's probably in tune with motors in a different way, as a racer rather than a creator of a car.
I had a little thing in the side we actually see the tire just like going over all different kind of surfaces and all kinds of weather is just kind of cool looking.
I also really like them sitting beside each other with their eyes closed, like, and then eventually they start synchronizing. They're both going down the same turns, and I was just like, this is some kung fu shit, and I love it. It was that bit, and the other time when he was like, freaking drivers, they don't know nothing. But they could connect to him in that this is like when your man offered you a car, but you wanted to build your own engine. She wants to win it on her terms. So he's still very much so conceited and up his own fucking ass about it, but he's starting to understand how other people are viewing this race, or racing in general, I suppose, from a slightly different perspective than his own. A little bit of growth, maybe, yeah.
Then we've got Healing Good, Pretty Cure, episode 17, Finest Hospitality, Trainee Innkeeper.
Yep, not a ton to report here. Just she was helping out at her grandparents' inn. It's like a nice little ryokan. It's got the hot springs, it's got the lot. And it's kind of about like learning to anticipate the needs of your guests, because Granny is so good at it. She's able to like remember the people who have stayed there before and leaves their favorite flower in the vase. Just little details that really enhance her trip away. So this a foreign couple have come by, and their daughter was with them, and they're staying as well. But they're not just staying here; they're going to be like just looking around in advance of a whole move here. And she was trying to anticipate the needs of her guests and figure out what the little girl wants. And she's very standoffish, saying, "Oh, here's like a traditional like Japanese sweet. It's really good." And obviously she's enjoying it, but it's like, "No, cookies are better." So she's just worried about, I'm moving here with my parents to Japan, but I'm away from like all my friends. I don't really know much about the place, and I'm feeling obviously very anxious about that. But then like kind of sees after playing with the park, after they saved the park from a welly monster. Not very imaginative this week. It's just literally a discarded Wellington boot in the rain gets turned into a monster.
Okay.
which they saved the playground from. And then starts playing around with the rest of the girls, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you've got a game called like Mr. Daruma, where like someone is like facing a wall, and then they count 1, 2, 3. and everybody to freeze. It's like, oh, that's like what time is it, Mr. Wolf? You got that game where I'm from. Ah, you see, it's like, you know, kids are the same all over. They all like having fun, doing the same things. Yes, like, I played Secret of Mana, and you played Seiken Densetsu too. And I watched Fast and Furious 7, and you saw Wild Speed Sky Mission. It was all the same stuff. We're all into the same things. It's very nice. Next time, a lonely cat lady who's Nyataran gets some scritches or is enamored with this very shy woman, and they get to indulge in a bit of dress up. She gets to live her magical girl fantasy, and Pi gets caught up in a crazy situation which you gotta fight a real monster. Oh boy! So we'll see what happens with that. It's going to be a fun one.
Then finally, we've got One Piece episode 934. A big turnover. The three-sword style overcomes danger. So, they're going around rounding up members of the Kazuki family, all the people who are planning to do the revolution.
They figured out the crack the code. This symbol means that they're planning a rebellion. This is where all the details are. Anybody caught with this flyer or has got the mark on them, rock them up.
And this leads to an argument with Shinobu and Law. Shinobu's blaming Law's crew for giving up the information.
Law's like, my guys are fucking loyal, dude. They wouldn't talk, and she's kind of like, we're not just, I mean, like, up to now it seems kind of a little, but we're not just digging around. We've been waiting for 20 fucking years to get this plan off.
Yeah, I like this scene because it puts there's so much more weight on Shinobu's shoulders, really, than anybody else's, because the other people who've been around for 20 years have been either in prison or gallivanting around being a bandit king, or doing something else, which we'll get to many episodes down the line. Whereas for everybody else, it's presumably just feels like a few months ago that Odin was overthrown.
And the pirates, like Law, obviously, they don't really have any connection to this.
No,
so
they're here to kick Kaido's ass. Other reasons.
That works out. We're allied in this, but we've been living this fucking life. It's a big difference.
Yeah, and so all that bottled up tension and rage comes out of Shinobu. But then Yasu comes in and lightens the situation with a bit of flattery, as this is wont.
I'm trying to, because of what we know now, I'm trying to get a better read of his like micro expressions, even though all of them are massive fucking grin. So that's interesting. Yeah,
it was more...
this entire episode's full of what we know now.
It changes the context so fucking much. It's really good.
It's
definitely worth coming back to if you're heading the manga.
I wasn't just listening in because he hears some people like angry voices. He just comes right in just to diffuse the argument. He just like, friends, it's this and things. They're talking about stuff that I know about and have history with. I think these guys are on side. It's like, hey, I'm here to join the rebellion. What's up? Hey, beautiful lady, how are you?
Meanwhile, Luffy's still hasn't found that thing he's looking for, and so he gets to fight a anime original small user, a big pink bear man,
who appears to be a man inside a bear, which is a bit unusual. But if it works, it works.
I mean, we already had a heart analog with Queen. I'd give you two of them for it.
Sorry, he's a green bear with pink shot pats.
I knew he's a weird color, so when you said pink, I didn't really think much of it.
I know there was pink on the design. I just couldn't. I'd got it in my head the wrong way round. He is, of course, still dressed like a Fist of the North Star character.
How else would he be dressed?
Yeah, we got penetrate his gut to get to the inside of him.
You can see Luffy's kind of getting it because the hacky off his like black iron kind of fist is reaching a little further than it. It's like, you're nearly there. He's like, and I like that kind of visual of it.
Just a few more episodes.
Does actually ask what is he trying to do this time.
It's like, you keep saying you're hitting them and that's bad, but like that's I mean, like, that's the point of it, right? So they're very slowly getting it. Apparently, he has to fight 2 more. It's Alpaca-Man and what was the other guy?
He's got by Jaggy again. Scorpion Jaggy.
Yeah, well, I don't think it was Jaggy. It was another guy we've already. Oh no, we've seen Bat D-Man. Fuck, I can't think of the other guy. It was another guy we've already seen before as well. Yeah.
New opening next week as well.
Oh really?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm sure that'll be spoiling lots of things for people who aren't up on the manga.
Oh dear.
I wonder how far they go in the spoiling.
Ooh.
Talking of which, we get a good scene with Kiyoshiro cackling at the terrible things that he's done in murdering Kumurasaki and making Orochi cry.
Remember when he killed that woman? Completely unrelated, similar-looking woman later on with Zoro,
Yes.
but just forget about that. That's fine.
Yes. Oh, by the way, they're rounding everybody up and putting them in prison. They've got the crescent moon on their ankles.
Hmm.
And yes, he seems most amused by all of these events. Yeah, the scene which will get overlooked because of the scene at the end of the episode, but the bit with Orochi crying is really good as well.
It is like obviously there's like a national fucking day of mourning. They wanted to shut down the funeral or put it off for a day, but they're like, yeah, then only more mourners will come in. But like he's holed up in his thing, like angry crying. It's pretty good.
Yes. And then, of course, the reason it will be overshadowed is because the last 2 minutes are fucking insane.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, your man did a great job acting as Orochi there, but I'm sorry, just that fight looks really good.
Yeah.
So people aren't going to remember it.
It's the conclusion of already a rather impressive start to the Zoro v Killer fight. I think it was pretty impressive enough. You know, it's gone this far. Okay, it's some peaks and troughs, but then Zoro, he gets a third blade after what's his face.
Like, I think purposefully getting stabbed was his plan to rob the side off him.
Yeah, well, Benkei sees his opportunity to get him in the back, and that's how that distract him, whatever, and he got it in the shoulder, but he couldn't get the sickle out. But that's what you don't want to do, because now Zoro's got 3 blades.
Yeah, see, I was under the impression by the way Zoro tenses that he's actually tensing the muscles to hold the blade in.
Holding it in, your man's just like, oh shit, okay, I better back the fuck up.
Because we know how strong Zoro is, because we've seen he's the only one who gets training sessions in the comic.
Yeah, generally in the background,
lifting insane weights on his swords.
Sure, there's like the corner pages, there's like they're doing innocuous things like reading books out in the garden, and he's got like a dumbbell propped up on his book. He's even doing it while he's reading.
If ever Zoro's not on panel, he's training. So yeah. He is farcically strong. If we got hit by accident or whatever, it is like him. Like, I'm going to hold this in my gut, because after he gets stabbed, he initially it goes from like I think a sickly green to like a red, and he starts grinning. It's like, yes, I got a third one. Okay, you're fucked now.
And the music hits.
Yeah.
Like, it was really dramatic as well, because it just seemed like an old Chanbara film. It's kind of a grainy filter. It goes black and white, except for the blood falling onto the pure and driven snow. But then the grin is just the grin of a demon, and his aura is unleashed. And he just that was a pretty cool page, a pretty cool finishing move in the comic. But man, they just it's like he fucking leveled or sliced up like acres upon acres of this forest just to take out Killer.
No, not a completely different character now, a different guy.
Yeah, I don't know where your killer is. This is Kamasa.
Oh yeah,
he is a killer of men.
He's a killer. Yeah.
It's a entirely different blonde man who uses scythes.
Yeah. Totally different.
Yeah. And then then Zoro collapses and starts bleeding out, and
he's kind of giving out. It's like, we haven't got to the final fight yet. Well, fuck it.
The monk wanders off with his basket full of weapons.
He robs the side, doesn't he? I think he does. I feel like he robs something, but he doesn't rob Zoro of his swords. He's just like kind of smiling, as it's like, get you next time, fucker.
Oh, he can keep those ones. It's only the one he didn't belong to him. It's the one he wanted back.
Yeah, he doesn't rob every weapon, I guess.
we'll learn soon why he's doing this. Possibly more than probably a fuller explanation than we got in the comic. I would guess. But yeah, absolutely cracking episode. After thinking, oh, maybe I won't watch it this week, and then I saw the gifs, and again, I was like, oh yes, they did top last week's episode somehow.
It's covering a lot of the same things. They're putting in new guys to fight. I mean, like I like the big bear man with the face inside the mouth, like he's that mascot. I thought it was fun. But it's just that last few minutes are just like, yeah, that's gonna make me come back again, you fuckers.
Yeah, well, maybe they know how to get you.
Yeah.
Just of all the various fights, let's just focus in on this one. This is about Zoro in a setting that befits this character. Let's do a cool job and do some like really neat looking shit with this.
Samurai in the snow on a bridge. It's just like it's all the fucking bits that are cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if there's. Is there just now a long drought without fights except for Luffy? Oh no, there's a really good fight coming up. I remember now. Okay, which doesn't involve Luffy. Yeah, that'll be a good fight. And I suspect that might get a bit more time as well. Yeah, she'll be back next week because I want to see what the new opening is and all the things it spoils. Because I love it. I always love it when they spoil all the stuff. Because it's where you get to see characters early.
Yeah.
So we'll probably get like the silhouette of all the other Toby Roper guys.
We might even get to see like a hint of the dinosaur forms and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if we do talk about the opening, should we talk? Depending on how spoilerific it is, we might talk about it last and just put a spoiler tag on. Now we're going to talk about the opening and do all the spoilers of the fucking show. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's gonna have a Oh, can't wait. Can't wait. My imagination is running wild.
Yeah.
Who's going to be in it? Cracking stuff. Righty-ho, let's ask Niall the question we ask every week. What time shall we three meet again?
Well, I mean, I ask my secretary here. Gladys? Yes, boss. Gladys, when are we on this week? According to the calendar, I see you down for August 4th, 7:30 p.m. Does that suit you? That's just be down to the ground, Gladys. Thank you very much.
What day is that?
It's a Tuesday.
That's a Tuesday.
Cool.
Tuesday at 7:30. We shall be back. Rightio, anything coming up on Secret of the Silent Madness?
Yeah, I think I've figured out what we might do for Drawing Alive. I can only find one episode with ease anyway, so I might look at the Oddball Couple, which is this cartoon version of the Odd Couple with a cartoon dog and a cartoon cat in place of Tony Randall and Jack Klugman. So I think there is the episode in question involves one segment of it, them imagining themselves their ancestors back in revolutionary days, and there's an episode of the Odd Couple where they do the exact thing, harkening back to their ancestors who were as well as just as an odd couple back then as they are now. So
perfect.
That could be one to do with that, but it could be pretty good. The episode I could see, it's surprisingly a pea-looking animation actually. So this could be a fun little gem. We'll delve into that and see how we do with it.
Righty-ho. I'm going to do something this weekend. It may not go up this weekend on the Dynamite in the Brain YouTube channel, but coming up at some point will be the anime tally. So if you've ever liked any of my panels at various anime conventions, or you've never seen one of my panels at an anime convention, it'll be something similar to that. And eventually it may literally be some of those panels from the anime convention. But it won't be to begin with. It'll be something different called 92% of anime is good. So eventually you'll find out what that means after I record 3 episodes of it and have them all ready to go, and then I'll start releasing them one a week. Otherwise, as we say, back here next week, 7:30, Tuesday. Make a date. Goodbye.
Bye.
Ta-ta.